Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the coach from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. I'm Tom. That's Jeff. Jeff, it's time to play the game. I'm looking forward to this one, man.
It is time.
It's time to... Yep. I feel like this is a underrated, overlooked match in the folklore of WrestleMania. It gets lost in the shuffle of their other two matches and the two HBK matches, but this was really, really, really good from what I remember. So I am very excited to cover this one. I'm assuming it popped on your radar for that reason, right?
Yeah. And so this was one of those, again, that kind of looking at it, I didn't remember it until I kind of started digging a little bit, and I was like, what the hell? Like, it was just one of those that kind of, it gets overshadowed by just so many other matches. And so, and not for not being a good match, it's just that this was a good match when there was a lot of great matches. And so you just got a grain of salt, all that, but that's, that's okay. So yeah, why not? It's still WrestleMania season for us. It never isn't, I feel like sometimes. And so, yeah, let's just get into it. Yeah.
Cool. Let's get to the build.
Oh, it's time for the build.
Houston, we have a problem. That was the tagline for this show. We're in Houston, Texas. We're in the old Astrodome, WrestleMania 17. This building still exists, believe it or not. They're trying to figure out how to repurpose it. The Texan Stadium is next to it. So when I went to the WrestleMania at the Texan Stadium, you walk past the Astrodome, which is kind of cool. They had 67,925 in attendance, buy rate of over 1 million people. Often regarded as the best WrestleMania of all time. We've covered this show before. I'll quickly buzz through the card, but man, top to bottom, it's tough to argue. I mean, this was such a great show. Jericho defeats William Regal. Taz and the APA defeat Right to Censor. Kane defeats Raven and Big Show in a wild hardcore match. Eddie Guerrero defeats Test to win the European Championship. Angle defeats Benoit. Chyna defeats Ivory. Shane defeats Vince in a really good street fight. We have the TLC match of Edge and Christian, Dudleys and Hardys. The gimmick battle royal, which was just so much fun for so many different reasons. Our match we're going to cover today, and then Stone Cold Rock, My Way, just classic. Arguably, we botched the end of that, but man, this show was just off the charts good. We're in a stadium. The crowd's hot. I'm really excited to cover this one. I don't remember the build to this. I don't remember if there was any significance to it or if it was just kind of thrown together. So tell us how we got to this match.
Yeah, so we got to remember here. So the Shield is, you're looking at next week. Yeah. The big feud going into this one was the Brothers of Destruction against Triple H and the Big Show. You had Stone Cold. Triple H beat Stone Cold in that 3 stages of hell match at No Way Out. And so Triple H felt like he deserved the WrestleMania main event for having beat everyone, including Austin and The Rock. And so the Undertaker, though, taking exception to that, told him that he had never beaten him before. So before this WrestleMania, oddly enough, they had actually, a little trivia for you here, the two of these men had actually never faced each other in a one-on-one match on a pay-per-view event. So it took until WrestleMania 17 for the two of them to have a one-on-one match. And so Looking at it, so during his entrance for the Hardcore Championship against the Big Show, Triple H ambushed the Undertaker, and so Kane ran in and saved the Undertaker, but he got attacked by the Big Show. So next week on SmackDown, you had the Undertaker. He actually tried to break into the limousine of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, but he ended up getting arrested that night. Of course, I remember it's funny to think back, like how many times wrestlers get arrested, and I wonder how many of these like local police they paid like to do this stuff. It's just funny. Like if Vince had the ability to kind of like fake being arrested, which is just great. So, but anyway, so you had, because of all of that and being arrested, you had Kane requesting a match against Triple H that night, but then lost because, of course, Big Show interfered in that one. So you then had Kane interfering in Big Show's hardcore match against Raven on Raw, and so that helped Raven beat the Big Show. And so then finally, you had Undertaker actually, because of that arrest, got a restraining order from Stephanie. So to get around that, they interfered in Triple H's match against Test, and Kane went after Stephanie. So it wasn't Undertaker, it was Kane. So you then have him holding Stephanie ransom in the balcony of the arena. You had William Regal give the Undertaker and Kane matches at WrestleMania against these two guys, though. But that match, as we've covered before, got turned into the Kane Raven Big Show Hardcore Championship match, but then this one stayed a singles match. And so a lot of moving pieces, a lot of build over the last kind of month prior to this and kind of what was happening. And so Kane involved, like both guys involved, so you have to talk about all them. And so and then you get these two having their match, and there you go.
Man, I'm excited about this one. WrestleMania 17, yep. We're at the 2 hour and 40 minute mark. 2 hour, 40 minute mark, WrestleMania 17. Jeff, are you ready?
Let's do it.
I said, are you ready?
Break it down. Let's do it.
All right. It's time for the payoff.
Oh, it's time for the payoff.
Houston's own Undertaker arriving here at a high rate of speed for his first meeting ever on pay-per-view.
So Biker Taker claiming Houston is his hometown. I guess close enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, not really. It never really built from Houston, but okay. Yeah. Ooh, and right out of the gate, bell hasn't even rung yet. Here we go.
Really, really hot crowd.
Yep.
So, I mean, this card, and look, it wasn't perfect, but from all indications, and I don't remember it, but Angle Benoit was a great match. No shock there. All right. Then the last 5 matches on this show, to me, were off the charts. Now, from a star rating, they weren't all 5-star matches. Shane Vince was excellent for what it was. And remember, that was the the Linda thing, and Mick Foley's your referee. It was excellent. Okay. Was it a 5-star match? Well, I don't know. It depends on what your criteria is. TLC follows that. It's funny because Meltzer gave a dud to the Gimmick Battle Royal. The Gimmick Battle Royal was one of the coolest things they've ever done at WrestleMania in my mind. Okay. You had Brother Love coming out in his hometown. You had Mean Gene and Bobby Heenan on commentary. You had all these gimmicks, Michael Hayes coming out in Texas, Earthquake and Tugboat. I mean, it was awesome. All right. Like, it was perfect. I wish they'd do it again. And then this match is going to be great. And then the main event was just ridiculously off the charts. So what a just killer show.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, well, I'm looking at, and so I'm curious. The Shane Vince match was 3 stars. Then you had 4 3/4 for that ladder match. They didn't really score the Gimmick Battle Royal, but then you had 3.5. Spoiler for this one, and then 4.5 for the main event. But also that Kurt Angle Benoit match got 4.25. So like the second half of this show was really off the charts, like you said.
Yep. Meltzer recently said his star ratings are not based on his personal preference, which to me says he believes he is so smart that he can objectively rate something. He knows better than anyone, and he has the self-control to have no personal bias in it, which is like an insane statement. Okay. And it's just the arrogance that, your movie critics have as well. Okay. So his contention is a big factor is crowd reaction. So it's not about the moves. It's not about who Dave Meltzer likes the best. It's how does the crowd react? In the history of wrestling, would you agree with me that one of the craziest crowds on a big stage was Hogan Rock?
Right.
And that got 3 stars, and he didn't like the match.
Right.
At some point, it's like, dude, you're just full of shit. Like, it's okay. I mean, we're you and I do a podcast on a worked business. Okay. So like everything's a work, but like,
right.
It's okay. But it's like for you to say with a straight face, oh, it's about crowd reaction. Well, that's like the greatest crowd reaction in the history of wrestling. And it's definitely in the, top few. When you say, tell me the craziest, crowd reaction you've ever seen, like it has to be in your top 10, that match. So it's not about crowd reaction, I think, Dave. And that's okay. Like, it's okay to just be like, look, I just, but his credibility, is attached to these star ratings and attached to the accuracy of his news. That's why he's so defensive over it. Yeah. He cannot say, hey, I got this wrong. My source was wrong. Hey, I missed the mark on these star ratings. Hey, that match aged really well. He will go to his grave defending Mabel being in discussions to be the third man, Hogan Rock being a 3-star match. And I guess it's okay to have pride, but it's like, is it really enjoyable to spend all day, every day defending your, subjective point of view on things?
Right. Yeah. I think even like our school, like it's funny because we gave this match an 8 and then you gave this match an 8.5. Are you saying that match is better than that match? Like, no, I'm not. When we do this, like we also say, like we take whatever we want into account. It might be the crowd, it might be the build, it might be what happened after the fact, because we have the hindsight to see those things and just the historical records to know those things. Like we compare it each match on its own. Like you have to, of like, okay, here's what I'm ranking this. Like, like is the Magnum, TA matches, are those for everybody? No, but those were really good. Like, and you and I have given some 10s out because it's just, how could you not, like the historical significance of like, the Survivor Series and the Montreal screw job. Like, yeah, you're going to give it a 10 because like of what happened after it. But that doesn't mean that the match was a 10. It's just the overall story was a 10. And I think, like you said, like it's hard because like it is so subjective. Like wrestling fans can do and say whatever they want, and we can, everybody likes something different. Like, I know that the Johnny Knoxville Sami Zayn match wasn't for everyone, but you and I loved it. Like, and so like that was fantastic. And so there's just a lot that goes into it. And like people, like you take it too serious too, and it's like, it's wrestling. Don't. So tough match here. These guys, he had the sledgehammer out already. He had a ref bump. Taker going for a choke slam already.
For the ride. Game over. Game over here. There's a count, and we got. Oh my God.
Man, it's loud in that building.
Yeah, it is.
Have you followed any of this Baron Corbin stuff and just some of the things he said since he got let go?
A little bit, yeah.
the two big headlines are, hey, I shouldn't have got let go, and there was just one guy that didn't like me, who I don't know who he's referring to, and I can't find it anywhere, but I don't know. Who could it be?
Well,
Michael Hayes, Bruce Pritchard. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, he hasn't said who, but yeah, I did see that.
And I haven't been able to find that. And then his other big gripe is, Logan Paul coming in, and it's just, these takes are just so tired. I mean, I don't know. Look, I've never been a WWE superstar. I was never with the company for 11 years. But I just wish, look, people can handle it however they want. I just personally prefer the people that handle it in a more classy way, that appreciate things. Because there's a lot of people out there that would give anything to be Dolph Ziggler, right?
Yeah.
Or Baron Corbin, or anyone else that maybe wasn't a all-time megastar, but had a great run, had a great career. And so it's like, it can be frustrating when it's like, why not just be like, hey, it was an incredible ride and I'm looking forward to what's next. And like Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, Zack Ryder, and those are just three of many examples of people that just handled it with class, went out there and proved people wrong, reinvented themselves. Two of them ended up back in WWE. One of them hasn't yet, and maybe never will. But it's like, there's a classy way to just say, hey, it was incredible and I appreciate every moment of it. And I'm so glad I got to live out my dream and I'll forever cherish it. And I just, again, I'm not saying that everyone should react that way, but I like the people that do and don't have sour grapes. And it's like, and like, not to be rude, but it's like, who do you think you are? Like, do you think you deserved a lifetime appointment? Like, you weren't a megastar. Right. The machine goes on without you. No one misses you. I don't know what else you could have done that you should have done. You were a mid-carder that got, into some higher level feuds. Like, be happy with it. You made millions of dollars. So I don't know. What do you think?
And sometimes you can, like, we see, like, they make all the right decisions and WWE lets them go, or they find ways to get themselves over with the crowd and they're let go. And then you have some wrestlers that, like, you and I say it a lot, like, oh, that we always have these, occasionally they let a bunch of wrestlers go. And it's like, okay, what was so-and-so doing? Like, I get it, like, it might be like very quickly after a feud ends or something like that, but also, like, I think a lot of it is posturing. We don't know the behind the scenes of a lot of this stuff. Like, some people, like, yeah, they do put it out there, but then others, like, we don't know, because then sometimes they come out after and, like, after Meltzer tweets something like, oh, it was bad blood. And then the actual wrestler comes out and was like, you're full of shit. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Or who is it? Gerwitz or whatever, like The Rock's writer. And he's like, that's exactly not how it happened. Like, I can tell you that. One of those was, oh yeah, the Rock and John Cena are going to be known as the Rock and Soul Connection, and he's like, no, they're not. Like, you're idiots. You're just making stuff up. Oh, now, okay. By the way, great visual here. They're on like a camera stand in the middle of the crowd on the hard camera side.
Where in God's name is the game going?
Holding him up in a chokeslam forever. What a spot.
The camera didn't pick up where he choked.
Yeah, it was kind of weird,
but he did. Yep. I think that's probably intentional for the crash pad.
We'll see the replay, but I mean,
tell me that wasn't that was criminal intent.
Oh, and by the way, on commentary, you've got Paul Heyman, who was, I thought, as good as you'll ever get on commentary. I thought he was incredible. I thought him and Jim Ross were so good. All right, so here's the replay of this choke slam, and maybe we'll get a better angle of it. Not yet. I'm sure they're going to show a better one, but they actually didn't have a good angle for this, believe it or not. He really threw him on like a crash pad. I mean, that was like
a real big crash pad there. Yeah, okay. That was not great. Okay. They've got it covered in this black paper, but that was
you can like literally see foam underneath. And I'm not saying he should have thrown him on. I'm not saying he should have thrown him on cement, but okay, now Taker did a elbow drop off. My stance on this,
they did a good job of trying to hide it.
But my stance on this is like, if you're going to protect him that much, just don't do it. Because I think it takes away from things. Like I think they've gotten better about it.
You can see the pad.
Even AEW a few years ago, they had like pads on a few things. I'm like, just don't do the cage spot if you're like not going to do it the right way. And I'm not saying you should do it the right, I'm saying like, but the padding thing, just not a fan. They did the same thing for Shane and Taker. And it's like, well, maybe he just shouldn't jump off the cage. Like, that's all. I'm not saying don't use a pad. I'm saying don't have him do that spot. So, all right. We're moving back in the ring.
So now they're kind of trying to get the crowd out of the way. So we can get back to the ring.
Interesting debate, and I don't know where I saw it or how it came up, but I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'll give you the reaction I had on Twitter afterwards. But the question was, who's had the better career, Roman Reigns or CM Punk? And I'll tell you what my answer was, and then I'm curious.
Okay, I've got an answer.
Go ahead. Good. You go first then.
I think it's Roman. And my reason is not that I think for better or worse, that too much of CM Punk's career, you have to bring up too much of the crazy that has gone on. Like the time in AEW, not saying that going to AEW hurt his career, because I think now we know the true story that he was not the bad guy in probably 95% of what happened over there. Because of how well things are going for him in WWE leads me to believe that there was other things at play there that, that's the reason it didn't work out. I think if yes, there's been times we haven't liked Roman. There's been times where he was not over and getting shoved down our throats. But I think overall the trajectory of his story, the kind of his commitment to making it work, you can't argue with that. And so I'm going to go with Roman.
My answer was, it depends on the criteria. So box office draw, bigger star, drew more money, it's Roman Reigns.
Yep.
If you, at the end of their careers, say, give me the top 10 moments or matches of Roman Reigns' career, and then give me the top 10 moments or matches of CM Punk's career, I believe Punk has done more iconic stuff.
I can see that.
The Survivor Series return, the AEW debut, the pipe bomb, the Cena Money in the Bank match, Taker Punk. I just think what Punk has done, from a fan standpoint, I give his matches and moments to me are better. But if I'm running a business here and I can only have one guy, it's Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you make a good point there too. If you look at the total sum of their careers, whatever they might be, Punk is still going. He has had to reinvent himself in some ways, not totally, but he also did, just kind of, now we're nitpicking a little bit here. And I still pick Roman for but Punk got over when everything was against him in WWE. Punk got over when everybody hated him in AEW. They gave him his own show, and then they literally shit that bet on that in, a month, not even. And so, Roman has always had the support of upper management and kind of, whether it was Vince or whoever, Triple H now, Nick Khan, he has continued to do what he does. So I think it does speak more to what Punk accomplished because, he did it when nobody really supported him. Big tombstone, but no ref.
No referee to count the pin for the Undertaker.
Wild match.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's just an interesting conversation. And again, it's just, I mean, it's subjective, but I know the obvious answer is Roman, but I said, well, wait a second here, because I'm a Punk mark, and I just feel like some of his moments are just insanely good.
Yeah. Yeah. For both of them, it's hard not. Yeah. You can't not say that for either of them. Yeah. I totally agree with you there. And so
a lot of matches. This was the first match between these guys.
Yep.
First pay-per-view match. Yeah. Triple H with Undertaker couldn't get
last ride. Yep.
So they did a Friday night's main event match in 97. They did a Raw match in 97. A no DQ match on Raw in 99. A no DQ match on SmackDown in 2000. 2002 King of the Ring. Insurrection 2002. A SmackDown in 2008. This match. The other two WrestleMania matches. They wrestled at Super Showdown in 2018, which of course led to the DX versus Undertaker and Kane match. So it's, I mean, great rivalry. The two WrestleMania or the other two WrestleMania matches these two had were insanely good. Uh-oh.
There you go.
Here is your winner, The Undertaker.
Wow.
The Undertaker 9-0 in WrestleManias. The American Badass has been busted open again, but he has defeated the game for the last ride at
Split
WrestleMania.
You like that song?
Baby.
65,000
Yeah, keep rolling.
fans, many on their feet. The hometown boy, and I should say the hometown badass, back in Houston.
From Houston? I don't know why they're playing that angle up, but sure, I guess.
Latest matchup, Paul.
So this is still pre-streak. So
Yes.
So WrestleMania 21, so 4 years after this is the first time the streak really gets put into play, and that was the Orton match. So this still wasn't really part of the
Got
streak.
it. That makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
All right, let's get to the aftermath.
Oh, it's time for the aftermath.
What'd you think?
Yeah, great match. Physical as could be, like two of the best, like having one of the best matches. Like there's nothing to be sad with that. Yep. How about you?
Excellent. I love this match. I just thought great length, nonstop, like two all-timers. This was just a very, very, very good match. No different than Taker versus Ric Flair. Like he just had some, there's the amount of matches that Undertaker had at WrestleMania. Again, this match and the Flair match, we don't talk about a ton. Then you have the 4 matches, with Undertaker or with Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
Orton match was really good. I thought the AJ Styles match was really well done. His final match ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like the cinematic match. Absolutely.
The punk match was really good. So
absolutely.
I mean,
nothing bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't think that gets talked about enough. Is like in the midst of the streak, we're also some of the best all time, and now we're going into Rock Stone Cold. Well, I mean, what a show. What a show.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing this was missing, because I'm such a mark, is Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
And the rumor was, if I'm not mistaken, the rumor was they were trying to do Triple H, Shawn Michaels at this show.
Okay. Which would have been wild.
Yeah. Which we eventually got.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not
to do
long,
it at this show.
Long,
like, yeah.
But yeah, that was, and I don't remember where I read this, but I feel like it was something pretty reputable. And they just basically, remember, this was still kind of Shawn having his personal demons. And I think they just said he wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, and that makes sense, but unfortunate, but yeah. So kind of the aftermath on this one, kind of what we got into. Like I said, so the feud kind of ended with here. So you had the brother Kane and Undertaker going back to being brothers of destruction, just like before. They beat Edge and Christian to become the tag team champs, actually on SmackDown. You then had Austin and Triple H challenging the Undertaker and Kane for their now titles. And so that match was at Backlash, but they had to put the tag titles up, but they also had to put their individual titles. It was a winner take all. And so you had Triple H scoring a pin. He beat or attacking Kane with a sledgehammer. And so this was now the second team of Austin and Triple H to hold both major single titles and the tag titles at the same time. And so that feud kind of came to an end, though, at Judgment Day when Austin beat Undertaker to retain the championship while Kane beat Triple H for the Intercontinental Championship. So, but then, of course, it was 10 years later, long time after this, Undertaker and Triple H, they'd have once again a match at WrestleMania 25, 6, 7. And the Undertaker beat Triple H in that one. And so that got his streak to 19-0 at that point. And then, of course, we know the year after he had his match with Michaels, which was 20-0. So, so this WrestleMania taking place in April 2001, PWI for 2001. You got Triple H at 6, Taker at 11. And so you had that. Undertaker pinned Triple H, a whole bunch of stuff. The crowd popped for Taker's kickout. Triple H got frustrated and punched away at Taker's newly bloodied face. Taker picked up Triple H and gave him the last ride and scored a clean pin. Good match. They filled quite a bit of time with brawling in the crowd, but the content was overall strong. The clean finish helped 3.5 stars from the Torch. Observer newsletter on this one. Undertaker, like a young kid in a jungle gym, did an elbow drop into the pit, making it even sillier since you could see the foam rubber protect his fall. Even sillier, the EMTs came out for Triple H and Undertaker, attacked them. By the end, they got back in the ring. Undertaker set up the last ride powerbomb, and Undertaker quickly came back and won with the last ride powerbomb. 3.5. So you got 3.5 and 3.5. Tom, what are you going to score this one?
Higher. I mean, to me, this is at least a 7.5. I'll say 7.5, but like, great match.
Yeah.
It was missing a massive build. It was missing massive stakes. But man, this was really, really good. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that like the action was great. They obviously have chemistry in the ring, so you can't not enjoy that because of what it is. And so, just overall, really good in that sense because this would be one where we talk about like, oh, like what match should I go back and watch? Like, while these guys had a lot of matches, this was a good one. Like this is one that why wouldn't you want to check this one out? It was really good. Yep.
We did some good work here today.
We did some good work. Yeah, we're now on the road to Backlash. So we'll see what happens and kind of go from there. Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate everyone listening. And we'll see you next week on an all-new episode of The Payoff.